Welcome to the Forever Cash Life Real Estate Investing Podcast with your hosts, Jack and Michelle Bosch. Together, let's uncover the secrets to building true wealth through real estate and living a purpose-driven life.
We have one more Hall of Fame induction. And before I bring the gentleman on, let me quickly share the Hall of Fame slide with him. Right? So here's our student that we're going to induct into the Hall of Fame right now. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Mr. Tim, and if I pronounce his last name, Ebie, right? Or is it Ebie? Ebie, right? I think it's Ebie.
It's ABA. You were almost there.
ABA, all right. Tim, again, so Tim is actually still in our coaching program right now, right? He enrolled in March of 2021. He's done over 21 deals already in 8 months, $175,000 in profit, and he has been in the program for barely more than 6 months. So with that said, Tim, welcome to our program. Welcome here, and congratulations to the Hall of Fame. Do you have Hall of Fame award somewhere close by?
Yeah.
Pull it up here.
There you go.
There we go. We want to go show it. Congratulations, Tim.
Yeah,
So
appreciate it.
tell us a little bit about you, Tim. Give us a little bit of your background.
No, Jack, thanks for your time. So my name is Tim Ebie. I'm from Houston, Texas area. That's where I live. I've been in real estate overall since like 2017, kind of bouncing around different strategies, different programs. So I ran into Jack and Michelle's program through a friend who introduced me to it. Funny enough, I had just closed a land deal here in Houston. The property was worth about $75K, and I got it on the contract for $25K. Okay, we're looking for houses, and I came across land. So when I closed on it, I was telling my friend, he's like, "Oh yeah, you heard about Jack Bosch? That's what they do. They find these properties for 10 to 20 cents on the dollar." In my head, I'm like, "Nah, there's no such thing. That's impossible. That you can find properties that cheap." So when he told me that, I had talked to Jack on, Instant Messenger, and he sent me the webinar information. So I went through the webinar and got more. My mind was just blown, right? Because besides just them finding deals so cheaply, and if anybody has any real estate background, one of the top things in real estate, especially when you look for houses, it's hard to come across house deals. But the way these guys come across land deals, it was mind blowing. But one thing Jack said that blew my mind was on the webinar, how when they build up all these notes with their land, and now they leverage that to do a line of credit with the bank for commercial loans and actually get more cash from Forever Cash. And just that mind of thinking, just like, oh yeah, I like this. I like the way these guys are thinking. So me, my personality type, I do a lot of due diligence and research up front. So I started, and I told Jack this, he didn't believe me. I started watching all their podcasts. I went to forevercash.com, went to the podcast, went to episode 1. I'm like, let me really see what's going on and listen to every podcast. I think I got all the way up to like episode 140, right? And every day I go run, I just listen to the podcast about 30 minutes, give and take, right? So I was able to kind of gather a lot of knowledge. And then one thing that stood out to me was I was blown away by their business acumen, Michelle and Jack, right? The way they started breaking down things from a business standpoint. So what you guys will find out, this is more than land. Land happens to just be the product. They have strong business acumen, which I knew that it only made sense. So I jumped in, I got the program September 2020, like the last weekend. I used the whole weekend, went through most of the program, and we closed our first deal after that by December. We got it under contract, but it took a while to close because things drag with the seller and buyers. So we closed by December. That was we made about $5K. We sold it on owner finance note. I was excited, right? Then after that, I got into coaching this year, February of 2021. The last few days, just like you guys, I'll do the 3-day live event. I signed up and got into it. And ever since then, it's just kind of been rocking since then.
Awesome. And now how many deals have you done?
As of today, we're at 28.
28. So even like when we got your information, it was already outdated. 28 deals since March. That in March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and we're barely into December. So 9 months into coaching, 28 deals, guys. When I just talked about that, hey, even if you take it slow, you can make $100,000. Did I exaggerate? No. I mean, that's what I mean here. And there's Tim doing 28 deals. And any more closings happening this month?
Yeah. So I mean, the good news, the exciting thing is, I mean, this month happens to be, it should be our largest transaction to date as far as net profit. Because I don't necessarily like to look at gross, because to me it's kind of fake. I don't know how much money I might get into my bank account. That's all I'm concerned about. So this month we're looking at about 70K, right?
All right.
70K across about, we have about 6 more deals to close this month before the end of the month. So that, and the good news about that, that's going to put us at about 250K net since really December last year, really give and take, when we got our first deal. So about a year, about 250K net. And the reason I bring this up, Jack, is because it's key. I went back and looked at, because I saved the podcast episode. I went back and looked at podcast episode 103 you did. You probably don't even remember, but I do. But guys, go check this episode out, 103. It's on YouTube, or go to the website. Jack talked about making $250,000 in a year. Right now, he broke it down, either cash or notes, but his main focus was how do you make $250,000 a year? And he was like, that's more attainable, right? Because most people can put their mind around 250K versus like $1 million or 10 million, that kind of out there. And I was like, wow, 250 seems reasonable. So I set that goal at the beginning of this year, 2021. My goal was 250K, right? And what I did is I have my calendar right here. It's right here. I broke it down per quarter. Each quarter I put $62,000, 500, whatever. That's, So the funny thing here in Texas, if you live in Texas, so you guys heard about in Texas, in February of this year, we have the Texas winter storm.
Right.
In February. So the city was pretty much shut down, and I had just signed up for coaching. Literally, I just started. I was going to get my first coaching class. Long story short, the first quarter I barely did maybe 10,000, barely 2 or 3 deals, because my business was shut down. I couldn't do anything because our house got flooded. We had to move. It was crazy. A lot of things were going on. We're having a baby. It was a lot of things going on. So I'm saying that because the first quarter of this year, we pretty much only had 10 deals. Now, based on what they teach in the program, and when I got into coaching, the idea started just kind of blown out the water, because between the second and third quarter, that's when things started to ramp up. So I'm saying this 250 we're looking at is really based on 7-8 months. You can just take our first quarter of this year, right? And things really took off since then. So I'm saying that because we started sending out our mailings January 1. We did a lot of mailings. And the last mailings I've sent out, Jack, to be honest, was of June of this year. We haven't sent out any marketing since then, because we had a lot of deals coming in. We're still processing the deals today.
Right.
We're still closing. So I'm just saying that's the power of having a goal and just following what the coaching program does, because I mean, it's just amazing. And once I got into coaching, like I said, things just kind of blew up, because prior to coaching, we had done 1 deal going into February of 2021. And since then we're at 27 more deals, 28. So I'm just excited, man.
With 6 more coming here. So 33, right. That takes you 33 while in coaching. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's 34. Jack, sorry, one more thing. When I listen to the podcast, here's what I think. And I just want to encourage people, because you and Michelle said when you left your corporate job, which I can relate to, you said you guys had done, I think, was it about 63 deals your first year? Okay. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, these guys did 63 deals. I know I can do at least half of that if I'm a one-man show. Because it's just me. I don't have a partner or anything like that. I have VAs. And by God's grace, when this year ends, we're going to be right around 33 or 34, which was the initial goal coming in. So there you go.
That all happened absolutely perfectly. You have the goal of 250, you hit it. You have the goal of like at least half of the deals because you're on your own. And then also, by the way, wonderful that you say that, like unasked here, because that was a question yesterday that was asked like by somebody's like, what if I'm only a one-man show? What can I reasonably do if I'm a one-man show? And I mean, you are doing $250,000 in this first year. Now, next year, you'll still be a one-man show, but what is the goal for next year?
No, that's a great question. So what we're doing this month, I'm putting a lot of my energy and we're building out the systems. I know you guys talk about these different phases. I can't recall. What I do know, you guys talk about the build out phase. That's where we are, right? So we've mapped out all our processes. I used most of this week. I just finished all our disposition, which is on the selling side, all our videos for our VA and all the documentation. We built out our org chart. So long story short, we're focusing on building out the systems to be more efficient. A lot of automation, which we're working on right now with Zapier integrations. And the next thing is hiring. We're going to get an acquisition manager, handle all calls, call the sellers back to make sure we build rapport, process those deals and be able to sell them. So automation, systematize it, and scaling. That's the focus for 2021. And we're trying to, by God's grace, we're trying to hit over $1 million. We're trying to go 4 times what we're doing this year. And my goal is, Jack, I got to say this last thing. This program is one program. I said I've been in real estate since 2017. This is the first program that actually gave me the first clear map to leave my corporate job, because I still work a 9 to 5. I still work a 9 to 5. I got a 2.5-year-old. I got a 4-month-old, a 5-month-old now, 2 boys. So the house is crazy. It's busy in a good way. But right now, as we speak, if all these deals close by the end of this month, by God's grace, I'm going to be at 80% of my goal to leave my corporate job. My goal is to leave by first quarter 2022. So I can really just pour my energy in this. So that's kind of where we are. And this program kind of gave me the path. So I want to encourage you guys, if you're serious, hey, it's possible, man. It is.
It is. Yeah, no. I'm happy to have you here. I just actually, you mentioned a couple of things. I want to actually give people that phase, because just before we brought you on, I actually talked about the 4 different phases, and they actually have a name, these 4 different phases. The first one is the startup phase. So startup phase, right? That's one. Number 2 is the build up phase, because the key word is up phase. The third phase is the build it out phase. So build it out. So what is the difference between up and out? Up is just volume. Out is systems, right? That's the big difference. Up is just volume. Out is systems. And then 4 is mastery, right? Mastery. And at mastery, you have your systems in place. Sorry, that's a really crappy R here. You have your systems in place. You have your processes in place, and you're doing $1 million. And most of the work is done with by a couple, 3 team members. You don't need many team members. I mean, in order to do $1 million in this business, you can probably do this with 2 to 3 team members. And then you make $1 million, but the team does most of the work, and you truly actually own a business. Here's a very, very big distinction that I want to make, is that that gave me one of the mentors that I had one time, right? Many years ago, I came to this mentor, and when we ourselves didn't have all these systems built out, like very early on, and I was like, I'm a real estate investor. It's like, oh, so you have a few people that help you flip real estate. So in other words, he basically says, you don't have a business, you flip real estate, and you have a few people helping you. And I was like, I felt offended in the moment when he told me that. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm a real estate investor. It's like, but now I understand. A long time ago, I understood what he meant, that what you want to have ultimately, and everyone starts that way, right? Everyone starts that way. Right now, you're still running in that business, right? That it's you running the business and have people helping you. Right. But soon enough, Q1, when you reach the mastery phase, you'll have a business that now is to send out certain amount of letters, that do certain things, that have acquisition, disposition, have these things run. And you can go 6 weeks on vacation, and while you're 6 weeks on vacation, deals are happening. You might still need to sign occasionally with a mobile notary, but other than that, you're not necessarily involved in these things anymore. And that's the true definition of a business. Most people run businesses that tie them down. But in this world, you don't have to have a business that ties you down. You can have a business that actually multiplies your freedom while also multiplying your income, right? And that's the beauty of that, right? So anything you want to add to that? Is that the path for you, right?
Yeah, that, like you said, I mean, I think you nailed it. We're just at the point that just to build it up to be an actual business that I don't have to be involved in. I had to get to the point that, because before you begin to hire people and you want to train your VAs and your team members, you have to understand the different parts of the business, the marketing side, the buying side, I call that acquisitions, then the selling side, I call it, disposition. Yeah. And also now you have the closing side, right? With the closing companies and title companies and title attorneys. So we have to understand at the beginning, we're doing everything. Our names, if you ever build an org chart, our names are everywhere, right? So the goal is to slowly begin to fire myself, bring in VAs, bring in people that can help us on acquisition side, disposition side, on the buying and selling, so I can kind of come out and just be on a visionary standpoint and really kind of move the company forward. So that's really the goal in 2022. That's why with me, it's critical. My first step is that I leave my corporate job so I can kind of have full-time, have my energy, in the business. So I can really grow out the way I want. And like Jack said, my goal is kind of come out. I'm really following your model, Jack. I read your book, Forever Cash. I do the profit first allocation. I have an account set up. They begin to put in money to that account to begin to buy Forever Cash assets. So I can kind of have that to live off with our family, right? So it's a long-term vision, but one of the first steps is leaving my corporate job, building out to an actual business that I'm not involved in. I'm just overseeing and managing people, then kind of building Forever Cash assets. So I'm excited. I am coaching in February of next year, actually really March of next year. So I still got a few months to kind of keep tapping into the coaching program. But what I will say is one greatest value I found with the coaching program personally is not only my coach Warren Davis is excellent, but also the daily calls you guys have, right? On Mondays, they have the buying calls. On Tuesdays, it's office hours and have an advanced strategy with Mike Smars in the evening. Wednesday is all about selling. Thursday is all about office hours. We're just asking the questions. And Friday is all about scaling. So just tapping into that every day. I don't miss a call. I've probably been on 95% of those calls. I do not miss them because there's so much gems that are being passed. And the power of the mastermind, you'll be blown away what you hear. And that will kind of help take your business to the next level. Because you doing it on your own, it's almost impossible. But when you have people that have experience, over 30 to 60 people on the call, dropping ideas, what works and what doesn't work, it's going to help you accelerate your pace. And that's what helped me. The first day I got on the coaching call, the gems that were dropped, I was able to implement them immediately. I have to mention one more thing. There was a deal coming in to the coaching program that I was having a hard time selling. It was impossible to sell. Aaron Williams was on the call. It was just all about selling. I asked him the question. He just dropped a few ideas, and that deal was sold within a few weeks for like triple what I had it on the market for.
There we go. That is like beautiful. Thank you so much. You couldn't have said it better. That's exactly what's happening. Like it's the power of the mastermind, and in this case, it's a mastermind between our master coaches and then those students that are in the coaching program, like Tim, who are attending these sessions and also dropping in gems, right? And then and others that have been perhaps even in their second year coaching, because many people renew for a second, like almost half of our students renew for a second year of coaching just because they love it so much, right? And then and all of this is being shared right there. But even the host of it is a master coach who is doing dozens and dozens and dozens of deals per year and is dropping all those gems. And it's absolutely that. This is something that nobody in industry offers. That is unheard of, really. That what people in the industry do, they do like a Q&A here and there and things like that. But no, this is like boom, boom, nuggets, like content pieces, exact processes, everything shared every single day. And what we typically say, though, if you're a beginning investor, is that you probably don't want to attend those right away at the very beginning, because there's like, you get info overload because there's so much being shared. So if you're a complete beginning investor, you attend your 6-week quick start intensive first. But then, because then you have all this solid foundation of really good understanding, you have done all the steps already, and then at that moment you join these daily group coaching sessions, and your mind will be blown, and you really anything that comes your way, any challenge will be solved during those sessions. Like a deal that was impossible to sell, that then within a few weeks sold for triple what he paid on a contract. So yeah, also, don't be afraid, guys, if you hear about business building and about employees and things like that. Like, you don't need to start there, right? You don't need to start there, but we have the expertise to train you on how you can get there, right? All you need to know right now, and all you need to trust yourself with, is that like if you go from LA to Miami, you don't need to wait for all the lights to be green, right? You need to just know that you have what it takes, that you have a car, that you have a vehicle that can get you there. And then the vehicle has a GPS. Guess what? We are your vehicle and we are your GPS. So with a combination of that, all you need to do is board the car, get behind that steering wheel and press on the gas, and we'll take you there. And along the way, we'll teach you how to hire a virtual assistant, how to train a virtual assistant, how to manage a virtual assistant, how to work with them on a daily basis. All of that is part of the program, isn't it, Tim?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, everything from A to Z. And I saw somebody put in the chat, you're right. If people get overwhelmed, I mean, the calls are recorded. I go back and reference calls because there's certain times they're going to talk about some topics that doesn't relate to you at that time in your business, right? But eventually, the good news, if you're just on those calls, you can always go back and reference that. One perfect example is Coach Jansen. She was talking about how to purchase mortgage notes and not mortgage notes, but sell your notes at closing and things like that. And she was breaking out the numbers. And I was like, look, in my mind, like, I'm not interested. I'm just trying to sell my deals. I don't care about this stuff right now, about these notes, because I was having a hard time selling it. But I remember that, and I went back and referenced that call. And a few months ago, I was able to leverage that, be able to now, because what we're doing is we sell a lot of our notes. So, we get on the contract and we just sell the note at closing. I have 3 more closing this month. We just sell the notes at closing, but I went back and referenced that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I talked about. I explained that concept that we now call the triple close, right, earlier today, and I actually told our audience here that you're doing those right now. So you're doing actually actively triple closes, right? Where you sell the note on the same day without putting any of your money into the deal. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, we close. So I do put some of my money to double close on the front end. Or what I do is I do transactional funding. I borrow some money, we close it, but the same day, a few hours later, we just triple close and sell it to a note buyer, and I just get cashed out, right? If that's if I put my money up front, or I do transactional funding. But the thing is, even if you don't, I was able to kind of build my cash base to a point where I can able to use some of my money. But even if I didn't, you can always do transactional funding. You might have to pay 1% or something, but you still get the deal done, right? So it's very possible.
Do transactional funding or double closing or things like that. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. So you guys here, everything I talked about is being implemented right there in reality. It's being learned inside of our program, and you can be the next one who be the next Tim Ebie here that crushes this $250,000 in the first year, running this alone while still having a full-time job. Absolutely fantastic. So with that said, Tim, well, congratulations again. Thank you very much for trusting us. Thank you very much for, we don't take it for granted that you trusted. And somebody's asked who provides transactional funding. Nathan, we have tons of people in our network that provide transactional funding. Some of our coaches do. I have done it. We have done it. We're like that. That is not a problem. I'll explain what transactional funding is right after this too. So with that said, thank you very much, Tim. Congratulations. I can't wait for you to reach the $1 million and for you to be one of our next millionaires on our quest to create 1,000 millionaires in the next 2 years. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you. All right, guys. How cool was that? Right? How cool was that, guys? Right? So that was awesome. So, guys, if you want that life, that experience, that growth, that success, then book yourself a call on landcoaching.com.